Alright guys, so today we're going to be talking about my labor and delivery story. If you're new, or at least relatively new, my name's Anicia.
My name is Devontae.
And her name's Juliet. And this is the Life of Us Vlogs.
Where every day it's more.
I don't need you to say anything. Where every day it's more. Alright, so let me just start off by saying throughout my entire pregnancy, I was supposed to be on bed rest and stuff like that because I was going through complications with Juliet. It was basically just my cervix was thinning, and so like Juliet was gonna be born prematurely, and yeah, I had to get hospitalized a lot.
So you being hospitalized, was that all throughout your entire pregnancy, or how many times?
I was hospitalized 3 times throughout my entire pregnancy.
Okay.
The first time it was for like 2 or 3 days. Second time it was for like a week and a half, and then the third time it was for 3 weeks. So and then the time where I was hospitalized for 3 weeks, they had to give me steroid shots in my butt. Yeah.
Your butt must have been strong.
Yeah, they had to give me steroid shots just in case Juliet was born early, so that way she'd at least be able to breathe on her own. It was like basically like a boost for her lungs. The day I went into labor, it was just like a regular day. Like I didn't feel contractions that day. I was at home. I didn't feel contractions that day. Like everything was fine. And then it was like 2:30 in the morning, and I had just got out of the shower, and then I went to my room and I laid down and I was watching a movie on my phone. I was watching the movie The Death, and I went into labor watching that movie.
You can actually say like whenever you watch that movie, it's like, oh, I went into labor while watching that movie.
So yeah, so I was watching the movie, and I was just like, for some reason I just couldn't get comfortable. And why are you eating chips?
What are you talking about?
For some reason, I just couldn't get comfortable while I was watching the movie. Like, I kept moving around. And, are you done?
Can I just finish one chip?
Your hair on my nose? I kept moving around, and like, I don't know, like it was just annoying. Like I just couldn't, I was just very uncomfortable. And then I started feeling like a pain after like I got it like 3 times. I timed it the 3rd time, and then I had like it had came again after that 5 minutes later, and then 5 minutes later again, and then 5 minutes later again, and then after that it was like 4 minutes later, and then 3 minutes later, and then like the pain.
So how many times did it keep on happening?
It just over and over.
Oh, okay, so it was multiple times when this happened.
It was just like over and over. And then Juliet was supposed to be born on July 3rd, but she was born on July 1st. So I started getting pains and stuff like that, and each time that the pains came, they got stronger and stronger, and like they came like right after each other. Instead of like them being 5 minutes apart, they were like 3 minutes apart and 2 minutes apart, and like they kept doing that. And so once they were like 2 minutes apart, I told my sister, because she was laying next to me, and I told her like I think I was like, I think I'm having contractions. And then she was just like, okay, like she didn't know what to do, so she was just like, all right, like. And then I just like was still laying down, I was still watching the movie, and then like I just like couldn't take it anymore, because like it was just getting like way too irritating, way uncomfortable. And so I got up and I went to my mom, and I was like, I woke her up because she was sleeping. And then I told her, I was like, Mom, like, I think I'm having contractions. And she was like, what? And then I was like, I think I'm having contractions. And she was like, why? And I told her, like, it hurts. Like, it keeps hurting, like, every, like, 2 minutes apart or something like that. And then she jumped up and she was like, you're going into labor. You're going to labor. Let's call an ambulance. And I was like...
So this is all 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so I was just like, okay. And then she went to go tell my grandparents, and then I just like, she told me like just start, because I already had my hospital bag and everything. Did I have all that stuff already? Yeah, I already had my hospital bag and everything like that, like all packed up. I had packed it up like the day or 2 days before that. And
At the hospital bag?
yeah, like her diaper bag and everything. You have to have your hospital bag ready when you're about to, like when you're...
What's a hospital bag?
Like her first outfit that she's gonna be in, Pampers, wipes, basically her diaper
Oh,
bag.
you have to buy that stuff? I thought that the doctors like provide you like your first like Pampers or something like that.
Well, they do. They have Pampers there. You don't have to bring your own, but like you just have to have a hospital bag.
So what are you supposed to do if like say me and you are eating a like Cheesecake Factory and like you go into labor and you don't have your hospital bag with you?
They'll provide everything for you.
Oh, okay. Also,
but your hospital bag mainly has like the baby's first outfit in it, and like just things like that.
Oh, okay. I was also thinking when you're talking about the contractions and stuff like that, like I really can't relate obviously because I'm a boy, but I feel like we should do the that little challenge where they put the little things right there, the little contraction thing.
You'd cry though, because you're a little B-word.
Babe, I can take pain. You know I can.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can. Pinch me. Pinch my nips. Alright guys, and also before she starts getting more into detail about this story, I just want to let you guys know that I haven't heard too much about this story. Like majority of what she's told me right now is my first time actually hearing it.
So my mom had went to go tell my grandparents that I was going into labor, and I went into my room. I already had my hospital bag ready. My sister had called my baby's father to tell him like I'm going into labor. Then I waited for the ambulance to get there. They got there in like 5 minutes or something like that. But as I was waiting, I feel like once my mom had told me like, oh shit, like you're going into labor, I had got like scared kind of, and then like I feel like that's when the pains got worse.
Your anxiety and
something,
the
I don't know.
kind of like mixed together.
Something like, I don't know, like it just got like worse, and I just felt like they weren't stopping. I felt like I wasn't getting a break, and then like I was trying to put on like shoes and socks, and like my mom was like, don't put on shoes, like what the frick.
What the frick?
So then I just like laid down, and the lady on the phone told my mom to tell me to take my pants and my underwear off. No, was it my underwear? No, she just said to take my pants off, but like leave my underwear on, and to lay on the bed so that way when the ambulance gets there, they can check to like see like if I'm dilating or anything like that. So I was like, all right. So I did that, and then when the ambulance people got there, they were like, put your pants on. Like, they were like, what the fuck are you doing?
She played you.
Yeah, they didn't check me or nothing like that.
So
they
what
were
does
just
that mean,
like
dilated? Like it's
dilated
coming out?
is how much your vagina is opening. And so they were like,
is there ever a time where you actually do give birth and the hand comes out like that first?
No.
No?
What the fuck is that? They're not diving out. I think I walked over to like get on the gurney thingy. Yeah, I think I walked outside and then they put me on there. It was hella cold. I got on thing, and then when they put me inside the back of the car, my mom was in the back too, and like I never cried throughout the entire time that I was getting contractions. I never cried. I was just like really irritated from how much it was hurting. Like but I never, you know what I'm saying, I never shed a tear or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Shut up. What is that?
Cause I'm over it. I mean, I can't say that. I was just like really irritated with how much like the pain was like hurting me. And so then when they were like rushing me there, they were like, oh, do you want to go to community hospital? I was like, yeah. So I have my baby at community hospital.
You can choose where you want to go.
Yeah. But, and well, you can choose, but it's also like kind of depends on where your doctor is too. Cause my doctor, her name was Mrs. Lee, and or Dr. Lee, whatever. And she was a doctor at community hospital. When we got like down the street from our house, the ambulance turned on the sirens, and I can hear them, and like we're just going hella fast, and I was like, no. It was crazy. There was a doctor, I don't know, what do you call those people?
Paramedic?
Oh, the paramedic guy, he was like right there, and then my mom was sitting next to him. He was trying to get blood from my arm, but I couldn't stay still just because like the contractions were hurting, and like, what did you want me to do? Like, I just couldn't stay still. But then my mom was telling me like, try to stay still, and then my mom had got on the phone with my daughter's dad, and she was like, oh, like he's following, like he's on his way too. So I was like, all right, cool. And so then we finally got to the hospital, and then we went through the back. They like reeled me in or whatever. I was still having contractions. I was still irritated as hell. And they put you inside a small little room first before you go to the room where you're gonna have labor. And then when they put me in that room, they like checked how much I was dilated. I think I was dilated a 4, and then
dilated a 4.
I was open 4 inches, I think it was. Yeah, I think that's what that means, 4 inches. And so I was like, okay. And then I asked them if they can give me the epidural. And then they were like, oh, you have to wait till you're dilated to 5 or something like that. So I was like, oh, like, all right. I was waiting, and then my mom was like, oh, Juliet's dad's here, so I'm gonna have him come back here. I'll switch off with him, because you can only have one other person up there with you. So I was like, all right. So he came in, and I was still going through contractions, and like he wasn't really like, he was talking to me, but he wasn't really trying to talk to me because I was irritated. So I would have told him to shut up anyways.
Like, I just kept on trying to talk to her, and like she didn't want me to talk to her just because how irritated she was.
Shut up. A couple more doctors came in there. They were all like trying to like monitor the baby's heartbeat, trying to like go inside my vajay, trying to see what's going on in there. They were doing an ultrasound, trying to see if the baby's head was down there, and blah blah blah, all that good stuff. And then out of nowhere, I don't know why, but I got nauseous. Like, I started getting like super nauseous, and I was like, I told the lady, I was like, I'm gonna throw up, and like she was just like, okay, here. So she handed me a blue bag thing like to throw up in, and I started hella throwing up. And then while I was throwing up, I looked up a little bit, and I can see my daughter's father looking at me. Right after I threw up, I was like, I thought I was done throwing up, so I lifted up my head, and then he was like, oh, I'm gonna throw up too. And he grabbed it from me, and he started hella throwing up in the same bag, and like he started throwing up.
Weak ass.
I remember once he did that in my head, I was like, no, he did not.
Are you mad that he took your throw up back?
No, I was mad because he's like, why are you throwing up? Like, that's what I was, like, I was just like, what? Like,
I don't know, maybe because your open 5 fucking inches.
He couldn't see my vagina.
Oh.
Then the doctor was like, sir, you're kind of like not really supporting her right now. So she told him, she was like, if you want to switch out. And he was like, yeah, I'm gonna switch out. And he was like, babe, I'm sorry. And then I was like, it's fine, just get my mom. Like, I was just like, I just want my mom. So then my mom came back in the room with me and she was like, what happened? And I told her and she was like, anesthesia. And I was like, oh my God. Like, I just couldn't even talk because like I was still feeling a little bit nauseous and then like I was in pain too. But in the back of my mind, like I was like, I hate him. Like, I can't do this. Like, after I have this baby. No, just kidding.
Okay, so where are you while you're giving contractions as opposed to where you're supposed to be when you're giving birth?
It's just like a small little room. Like, you ever been to the hospital and like they take you to a small room before they give you your actual room?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a small little room like that.
Were they taking your blood and stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I know what you're talking about then.
Yeah, so they were like taking my blood, they were doing all that stuff, and then finally like my room was ready, so they're like, okay, like they're gonna wheel my bed out to my room. So then we were going into my room. Oh no, before that though, they had to weigh me and stuff like that. So as I was like walking to like where, because I had to get up off the thing to like walk over there, and it was like kind of hard because I told them I felt like Juliet was gonna fall out, but they're like, no, like it's not, like we promise she's not gonna come out. So I was like, all right. And then also I had to go number 2.
Ew.
I felt like I had to go number 2. So then I was like, oh, like I have to go to the restroom. So they're like, okay. And they told me, don't push to go number 2. Like, don't do that. So I was just like, in my head, I was like, no, like.
How do you go number 2 without pushing?
Yeah, I know. So because I thought I had to go number 2, but really it was just her down there. I really didn't have to. But I did go pee though. So I went pee. She didn't fall in the toilet. Thank God. And
imagine?
That happens to people.
I know.
Yeah, that's crazy. During my pregnancy, I gained about 60 or 70 pounds.
So what are you supposed to gain throughout your pregnancy? You're not supposed to gain anything. Huh?
No, you can gain weight. You're obviously gonna gain weight. You're pregnant, but you're not supposed to gain that much.
But you have fat as opposed to like more majority fat.
All of it was fat. Like none of that was the baby. Juliet only came out weighing 6 pounds. I weighed myself and I weighed like 160 something, or like about to be 170. So yeah, I weighed myself and then they took me to my room. When they took me in there, I had to wait like, I think it was probably like 10 minutes, and then they came in to give me the, no, they came in to check how much I was dilated, and then they were like, okay, now you're at a 6 or a 7. I think I was at a 7. Yeah, I dilated down to a 7. Like, it was literally so quick. Like, I dilated.
So how much are you supposed to dilate before the baby's actually ready to come?
10.
Okay.
And so, yeah, so I was dilated at a 7, so they're like, all right, like, we're gonna give you the epidural. I don't know if they do this for everybody, but for me, they made everyone get out of the room. My mom couldn't be in there. My daughter's father couldn't be in there. They made everyone get out of the room, and then it was 2 nurses that came in. One of them was doing the epidural on my back, and then the other one, I had to, like, hug them while the person was doing that. And so then they were like, okay, tell me once your contraction leaves, so that way you can put the epidural in, because I don't know if you guys know, but you cannot move while somebody's sticking a needle in your spine because you will become paralyzed. I couldn't move even if I was having a contraction, nothing. So they're like, tell me like when your contraction leaves. So as soon as my contraction left, I told them, like, I was like, okay, go. So I leaned over and I started like hugging the nurse. Right when I leaned over and hugged him, another contraction came and I was like, fuck, like it was already too late. Like I couldn't tell them, so I just had to stay still. And like I was
so they're
like,
doing
screaming.
The needle while you were having contractions.
Yeah, I was telling them like, I'm having a contraction, but they're like, it's too late. Like we're like, the needle's already in there, just like really quick. So then like they did it really quick actually. I don't know how. I think they just like poke it in and then they like switch the needle to like a bendy one and they tape it all up back there, and then they're like, all right, like,
oh my gosh, you're just hearing it.
And then they're like, okay, like you can sit back down. Like as soon as I sat back, like I was just like, oh my god, because like yeah. And so then basically like they're just like, okay, it's gonna kick in like pretty quickly, like you're gonna feel it. So I was like, all right. So then I laid back. My mom and them came back in the room, and then my mom sat back down. She was like, are you feeling better? And like once she told me that, like I can literally feel from like my waist and down, like everything just started like I can feel everything just numbing up. It was like something was just running down my legs.
It was the epidural, right?
The epidural.
Oh, okay.
And then I was just talking to my mom and my daughter's father, and I was just like telling them how it all went down and stuff like that. So then you know.
So you hadn't conceived yet?
No,
you're just
not
like
yet.
Chilling.
Yeah, they were just waiting for me to dilate more to tell me to push more.
Hold on, quick break.
On my left waist, on my left side of my hip, in just that one spot, I started to feel the contraction again. And like I felt it like a little bit, and then I was like, like it's nothing, like I'm just leave it alone. And
So
then
you felt it
like
just in that area?
just in this spot right here, and like it just kept hurting and hurting. It was getting worse, and then I was like, Mom, like I can still feel it. And she was like, oh, you have to call them back, they have to do it again. And I was like, oh my god. And I was just like getting irritated because like I had rang the thing, and like I told them like I can still feel it, like I need them to come back. So they're like, oh well, we're doing 2 other people and then we're gonna come back to you. So I was like, oh my fucking god. But like I had no choice but to wait. Eventually they came back in, they redid it, and then it took all the pain away. And then after they redid it, they had checked me again to see if I was because during this entire time my water never broke. I don't know, it just never broke.
I forgot about that. Your water is supposed to break when you're ready to.
Yeah, but I don't know, my water never broke. So then
And that never occurred to you while you're at the hospital? Like,
yeah,
my water never broke?
Yeah, but that just, it happens to people. My actual doctor came in and she had told me that she's gonna go ahead and break my water herself. So I was like, okay. So then they got like this needle thing. Like, I'm not sure if it's a needle. I'm not sure what it is, but she basically just like, I couldn't feel it because like, mind you, the epidural was like all the way down there, so I couldn't feel anything. And like, she just like put it in there, and like, I guess she like broke the bag of water. And like, it just felt like I was peeing on myself. Like, I could just feel all the water just coming out. Like, it just
was
felt
it warm?
Like, I don't remember. I think so. Oh yeah, I think so. But it just felt like I was peeing on myself, so I was like, whatever. And then I remember they had me move to lay on my side for some reason. I think they were doing an ultrasound, so they had me lay on my side in order for them to get like a better view of the baby or something like that. But when I had laid on my side, I opened up my legs because the nurse told me to, and then she put a pillow between my legs, and then I had like moved a little bit, and like when I looked, there was blood all over the pillow, and I was like, what the, and I just like looked at her and I was like, there's blood, and I was like, what the fuck, like, I don't know, it just scared me because like it was a lot of blood like all over the pillow. And she was like, it's fine, like you're supposed to be bleeding, like it's fine. And I was just like, okay. And like, I don't know, it was just scary though. And I just like laid over, they did the ultrasound, and they had me lay on my back. And then finally my doctor came back in the room, and then she was just like, yeah, like it's time for you to start pushing. I pushed once, nothing happened, and then she told me she wanted to like put some time in between the pushes, but after I pushed so many times, I think it was like 4 times, I felt like I needed to keep going because for me, I felt like Juliet was right there, and like if I just pushed one good time, like she was gonna come out. So after like I pushed those times, like she was telling me like, calm down, like don't push again, and I was like, I have to, and she was like, hold it. And my mom was like, just hold on, Anicia. And then my mom was sitting over there at the time, and then Juliet's father was right next to me and wasn't saying anything, wasn't doing anything. And then the lady was telling me to like lift up my legs a certain way, and I didn't understand what she meant, so I was getting like frustrated. And then my daughter's father wasn't doing anything, like he was literally just standing there. So then my mom was like, you know what, let me go over there. So then she told him to like go over there and sit down. And when he did go sit down, he turned around. Okay, so I'm right here in the bed, and then over here there was like a couch, and he went to go sit on the couch, and then he looked I'm facing this way.
So basically like, you're facing this way.
I'm facing shut up. So I'm looking this way, and then the couch was like this, and then he also looked that way, so that way he couldn't see like my or anything like that. And then he got a pillow and he like put it in his face like this, and he stayed like that the entire time. My mom was helping me. She lifted up my legs the way they needed to be lifted up, and then she was helping me like push and everything like that. And finally it took 3 pushes. As soon as my mom got up and started helping me, it took 3 pushes, and then Juliet was out. They had me push once and then push again, and then the 3rd time like I told the lady like, I have to push, and she was like, no, not yet. And like I still pushed because I was like, girl, I have to push. And so when I did, like she was like, oh, here she is. And then my mom was like, she called my daughter's father's name, and she was like, Juliet's coming, like she's right here. And he got up and he's like jumping behind my mom, and he was like, they both started crying, and then like Juliet like her head like came out, and then like the rest of her body came out. And then
how did it feel like when you couldn't feel anything on, like when she came out?
The only thing I can feel, it just felt like I was taking and so then but after she came out, like all the pain was just like it literally just felt like, oh my god, like
did
it's
your stomach
over.
just deflate?
No, that's what I thought. Babe, that's what I thought was gonna happen. Like when I was pregnant and stuff, I would always think like, does my stomach like deflate? Like what happens after that? But I remember when they had laid Juliet on me after she was born, and they had laid her on me, I looked at my stomach, and my stomach was still big. Like it still looked like I was pregnant, and I was like, what the frick? Like, so then after that, like they laid Juliet on me. My daughter's father didn't want to hold her. He was, I guess, scared. I don't know. Yeah, so what do you think?
I feel like the thing that's gonna stick in my mind, and obviously viewers' minds, is one, the simple fact that your ex wasn't helping you. 2, he was sitting down on a couch, not looking at you. So basically, like he made it seem like he was like ashamed, but obviously he wasn't ashamed, but just like he couldn't like handle it.
I don't really blame him for like, okay, mind you guys, I'm 15 at the time while I'm having my daughter. I got pregnant when I was 14. I had her when I was 15. Right? He was 16. Oh, okay. And like we were kids, and so I don't know, I just feel like I wouldn't want to see my girlfriend's either if it was opening. Like I don't blame him for that part, but I do wish that
I'd be all up in it. I'd be like, I don't know, like it's just crazy like hearing that story for the first time, because it's like the entire time that you're telling the story, I'm kind of a third party member trying to place myself in that predicament and trying to figure out how would I react or what would I say. Because if it was me, like I'd want to say something like when I'm by your side, but I feel like I'd choke because like I wouldn't know what to tell you, because I don't know what you're going through.
I didn't really need like anyone to tell me anything, but just like being there for
calm me down, like
moral support or something like that. Yeah,
moral support.
Just like being there, like that would have been cool. But like I had my mom, and like mom, she was pretty cool.
Yeah, I feel like I'd be over there like, I wouldn't even want to touch you. Like I feel like I'd want to at least just go like that.
No, don't do that.
See?
Like, I didn't even want him to touch me. When I was on the epidural and I was like trying to get sleep, he had went over to the side of my bed and was like this, and I was like, move, like, because that was.
I mean, I don't blame you.
Because that was when like I started.
If a hobo touched me, I'd be like, nigga, move.
So that was when like I was like, I can feel it in one side of my hip, and like he had tried to come over and just be like, it's okay, babe, and I was just like.
I'd probably, the only thing that I could think of is if I'd be sitting there and I'd be telling you, babe, like breathe, like just look at me, breathe through your nose, and I try to tell you like to breathe with me in unison. Alright, as you guys may or may not know, we usually do channel shoutouts at the end of each video. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do a channel shoutout last video, and I think it was the video before that as well. I think it was just the last video, I'm not exactly too sure, but we do channel shoutouts, and Anissa is gonna do today's channel shoutout.
Today's channel shoutout goes to Daisy Monroy, and her channel will be right here on the screen. Go subscribe to her channel. Also like all her videos. She posts makeup videos. She posted a pregnant at 14 video, a noise canceling. She just challenges, get ready with me, all those types of things. So go on her channel, subscribe to her channel, like all her videos. Also comment on all her videos and tell her who sent you guys.
Yes, you guys are very good at that and letting each and every single person know who sent you guys. So
yeah.
Say hi, guys. Aww.
Does she look like me?
She looks exactly like me.
Mama, I love you.
Oh, I love you too, baby. Ow.
Mama, can I set a picture?
Yeah.
Can I set a picture?
Yes, baby. If you guys haven't already, make sure you smash this video with a huge thumbs up. Make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel. And for those of you who are new to this channel, or at least relatively new, my name is Devontae.
My name's Anicia.
Her name's Juliet. And this is the Life of Us Vlogs. Did she say it? I think she says it every time I watch. Alright, try to do it again. I'm watching. My name is Devontae.
My name is Anicia. Her name's Juliet. And this is the Life of Us Vlog.
Blackbird, black moon, black sky.